Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Cutting Edge Figure Skating Podcast. My name is Kim Dunaway, and in this episode, I will be previewing the women's event at the 2024 World Figure Skating Championships. This event, to me, feels kind of like pairs in a way that it's pretty wide open. Now, unlike pairs, there is a clear favorite in the ladies, and that's Kaori Sokamoto, who has won everything this season. She hasn't lost since we got to go back to Grand Prix final of December 2022. So the last time that she's lost. She also has scores that nobody else can reach. So Kaori has scored 80 points in the short program and 155 points in the free skate as her personal best, but she scored 151 points in the free skate this season. And even if the other ladies here go out and skate to their absolute best, those are just not numbers that I feel like any of the other ladies here in this event can hit. So Kaori comes in as the clear favorite, and she would really have to make a mistake or multiple mistakes to lose here, which of course can absolutely happen. Ice is slippery, but I think she definitely would be expected to three-peat as women's champion. The question really becomes who would join Kaori on the podium. And Luna certainly looks to be most poised to get there this season. She was on the podium last season. She was the bronze medalist behind Hyen Lee, just barely beating Isabella Vito. And she was also the silver medalist from the 2022 World Championships. She won Europeans this year, and she's been very, very strong on the Grand Prix circuit. So I would be surprised if Luna is not on the podium here. And I think that that second spot definitely has her name on it if she skates up to what she's capable of, because Luna can go 75 in the short program and 145 in the free skate when she's at her best. And she's been more consistent this season than what we saw of her last season. I think she's got a lot more confidence. And so it'll be interesting to see if she can push Kaori at all and what exactly she looks like here. Once you get past Kaori and Luna, it is just a complete who knows. There's probably 8 or 9 ladies that could realistically win the bronze medal. I think the first place that you have to look at is with the 2 Japanese ladies, Mona Chiba and Hana Yoshida. Mona Chiba, coming off of a win at Four Continents, has not had the most consistent season, but is she on the Hyen Lee track from last year? Getting a lot of momentum at Four Continents, skating the best that she has, and someone who doesn't have a triple axel or a quad jump or something fancy, but just goes out there and skates the contents that she does and does it well. I think she's probably got the clearest path to the podium. But she's also extremely inconsistent. And so I don't have a ton of confidence in her either. When you look at Hana Yoshida, she's been very, very up and down this season. I think it seems to me from the first day of practice reports that Hana is planning to do the double axel in the short program, which I think is an absolute must for her, because when she's gone out and tried the triple axel in the short program, it has not gone well, and she has found herself really behind and having to make up a lot of ground in the free skate. And so if she wants to really realistically have a shot at the podium here, she's really got to go out in that short program and skate it cleanly, which means she needs to do the double axel and not the triple axel. The free skate probably is going to determine on whether or not she lands that a triple axel or not, because if she lands that triple axel, she can go in the 140s. She could be pushing for a podium spot. And if she doesn't, it's a little bit more difficult, but it's going to be really imperative for her to go out and skate a clean short program, which we have not seen her do very much. I mean, her personal best in the short program is below a 67. And so at this point, you really want to be in those 70s to mid 70s to really be competitive for a podium spot. So you know that Kaori has the possibility to go 80. You know Luna can go 76, 75, 76 in hers. You've really got to be somewhere in that 72, 3, 4 range to really be competitive. And so I think it's going to be super important for Hana. This next group is perhaps even more inconsistent with, again, a high ceiling. And I'm talking about Isabel Levito, Cheyenne Kim, Nina Pinzeroni, Anastasia Gubanova, and I'd probably throw Amber in there as well, because all of these ladies have the ability to go at 70 or close to 70. Of this group, Nina Pinzeroni has probably been the most consistent that we have seen this season. She is prone to get under calls, and her PCS tend to be lower than some of these other ladies. But just based on what we've seen this season, she medaled at Grand Prix final. She didn't medal at Grand Prix final. She was fourth. She was third after the short program, but couldn't quite hold on to a podium spot. But she did medal at Europeans. She's been very strong all season. I think what is going to be the key for her is, can she fully rotate her jumps? Her programs are beautiful. Her spins are beautiful. She's really nice artistry, even if she hasn't been particularly rewarded for it this season. But oftentimes you get rewarded for consistency when you continue to go out competition to competition and skate well. Cheyenne Kim came into this season, in my mind, as someone I expected to medal at Grand Prix, medal at Grand Prix final. She didn't even make Grand Prix final. We've seen a little bit of a regression from her. She definitely came back at Four Continents to be stronger, and she was second there, but I just haven't been overly moved by her programs this season. So she just looked especially in her second Grand Prix and really at Four Continents too, she just looks so nervous, so tight. Can she loosen up? Can we see more of that Cheyenne Kim that we saw last season at Four Continents and at Worlds? Because that Cheyenne Kim can absolutely contend for the podium. It just really depends on, can she get a handle on her nerves, which affects her ability to land her jumps well, and also affects her getting rotation calls. Because as we've seen pretty much all season with these ladies, that tech box score can go down 3, 4, 5, 6 points for some of these ladies. And that's the difference between being on the podium and being out of the medals. In the case of the two Americans, you don't know what you're going to get, because Isabeau, at the beginning of the season, while she had a little issue here, a little issue there, still was very competitive. Won a Grand Prix, was second in another, and then had a really rough short program at a Grand Prix final and had a really rough free skate at U.S. Nationals. So what kind of mental state is Isabeau Levito in? If she skates her best, she, again, could podium. I mean, she was a mistake, one less mistake in her free skate last season from being on the podium at last year's World Championships. She fell on that opening combination and didn't really have a backup plan for another triple combination. And so that kept her from medaling last season, and she was very disappointed. I think the expectations for her coming into this World Championships are definitely lower, just based upon her last two outings. But the potential for her to skate well is still definitely there. I would love to say, hey, if she goes out and skates really well in the short program, that would give her confidence for the free skate. But based on nationals, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. What I will say is that she's very unlikely to be in first place going into the free skate here, and perhaps that will help relieve some of the pressure from her. I know both her and Amber want to finish with the placements to get 3 spots, which can happen. It will be a tough go, and it will depend on how other ladies do. But if they skate their best, they can absolutely do it. Amber is a huge wild card, because Amber has the goods with that triple axel that she's been landing very good at practices at home, coming into this competition, that she's landed 3 times in competition this season at Skate America, at Golden Spin, and then also at U.S. Nationals. But she's fallen apart in all 3 of those competitions in the second half of her program. So if Amber were to go out and skate, again, what she is capable of, Amber could medal here, because she has really fantastic jumps. She's not one who gets under rotation calls. And with that triple axel, she could go 140, perhaps even mid 140s in a free skate, which would put her in podium contention. But if she comes into that, if she skates well in the short program and comes into the last group, like, what's her mental state going to be? It's, who knows, right? So huge wild card. And then Anastasia Gubanova, second at Europeans this year, won Europeans last year, really had a rough World Championships last year. She's definitely going to want to rebound and skate better here. She's got the potential, but, has she been able to work on some of those things that have been bringing her down in her scores all season? Her spins, her step sequences, she hasn't been getting the levels, and that's really affected her scores. She's also been another one that's been prone to under rotation calls. And so she's had kind of a crappy attitude for really a lot of the season in the kiss and cry. Hasn't been real happy with her scores. Feels like she's getting marked down because she's Russian. So, can she push past some of those things? She's been very close to 70 points in the short program. She can go very close to 140 in the free skate. Really depends on those under rotation calls, if she can go clean. So she can certainly be in that mix. So like we said, a lot of people. And another couple of really big wild cards who haven't skated well this season, and I might even say three. I was thinking Kimmy Rapon and Hyen Lee, but you could throw Young Yu in there as well too. Young Yu to a lesser degree, just because we really haven't seen her skate super well in a while. But she is someone who has scored well over 200 points when she's at her best. Now, that was when she was landing the triple axel, which is not something that she's been doing. I don't think it's something that she's going to be attempting here. Her big issue has been with rotation calls. Just getting a triple combination in the short program has been tough for her. But the potential, again, is there. So you could throw her in the mix. With Hyen Lee, of course, coming out of last season, a lot of expectations on her coming into this season, and just has really had a tough time. I thought she had two really beautiful programs at the beginning of the season. They're both gone at this point. She debuted a new short program, like a cabaret kind of short program, over what she was doing earlier in the season at Four Continents. And then now she's gone back to an older free skate from her Notre Dame de Paris free skate, which I also really loved here. And so perhaps going to something she feels a little bit more comfortable with and hoping to get some type of a confidence boost. For me, she's a definite long shot, but you never know, right? Kimmy Rapon, again, comes into this season with, you have a lot of high expectations. Unfortunately for her, had dealt with some injuries. She was just coming back at Europeans, didn't look quite ready yet to be at her best. Where she always struggles with is in the short program. There's always seems to be a mistake somewhere in the short program, and so she ends up way behind, and she really depends on having a really great free skate to sort of bring her up, and that can work, at Europeans where the field is weaker, or at a Grand Prix. It's not going to work at World. So if she wants to be competitive, she's going to have to come out and be really strong in the short program. So some of the other storylines here, Madeline Skeesis, who Canada just has one spot, and they've just had one spot for ladies. Could she skate well enough here and finish in the top 10 to get that second spot back for Canada? Of course, are they going to have somebody to send? They don't have anybody else, with tech minimums, but perhaps if they had a second spot, they would be a little bit more motivated to try to get ladies with tech minimums. So I felt like Maddie skated really pretty well at Four Continents. Thought she was pretty poorly scored, but again, if she were to skate two clean programs here, I think she could get into the top 10. And so that is definitely someone to look at as well. And then you've got some people here that we've seen kind of flashes of at times: Livia Kaiser and Switzerland, Lorraine Child of France, Serena Yos of Italy have had really great Europeans. We've seen them at challengers do well at times. Can they rise to the occasion and really make a good impression here? It's a pretty stacked field when you look at the top 15, 16 skaters. It's going to, there's 35 skaters in total. So which means we're going to lose a lot of really good skaters. Can Josephine Talagard make the free skate? She's always sort of on that bubble. Zhu Han Ting, who we saw at Four Continents, has not made the free skate previously. Is that something that she can do here? So there's some great storylines even beyond the medal contenders to look at. And as far as spots go, in order for the US to qualify 3 spots at next year's Worlds, you would need the replacements to equal 13. So that would mean that they would need to be 6th and 7th, or 5th and 8th, or 4th and 9th, 3rd and 10th, something along those lines, which if they both skate well, they absolutely can. But if they skate like we've seen them skate, like at nationals, that certainly won't happen. It's, for me, it's not a huge priority. It's nice to have 3 spots. That Worlds is going to be in Boston next year. You would love to have 3 spots, but the US ladies aren't so stacked that I feel like, oh, we've just absolutely got to have 3 spots. But I think it's there for them if they skate well. Japan should absolutely be in really good shape with Kaori, Mona Chiba, and Hana Yoshida. Even if one of them has a rough time, you still have a third lady. And even if both Mona Chiba and Hana Yoshida had a rough time, with Kaori likely finishing first or second at worst, they would only need to finish 11th or 12th to get that 3rd spot for them. I think another place to look at would be Belgium. I don't even know if they have a 3rd Belgium lady, but I think it's very likely that Luna and Nina could qualify 3 spots for Belgium next season based upon how we have seen them skate so far this season. And if Gabanova could finish in the top 10 here, again, I don't know if there's another Georgian lady, if Russia's out for another season, would somebody try to jump ship? Who knows? But, that's certainly a possibility for them as well. And I think Korea is going to have a really, really hard time qualifying 3 ladies next year, because while I think Chaeyeon Kim can do well enough, I think it's a tough ask for both her and Hyeon Lee or Young Yu to get placements high enough for them to get 3 spots next season, which would really suck if they really rebound next year and have, Yellen Kim comes back with a vengeance, and Hyeon Lee comes back better, and Chaeyeon Kim comes back better, and Young Yu continues to improve, and they have another couple ladies that are very good, and they're only able to send 2. That would be unfortunate, but it's probably what's going to happen, just sort of based upon how they have skated so far going into this World Championships. So as far as my predictions, it's pretty easy for me to say I think Kaori three-peats and wins another world title here. I just don't see anybody really pushing her unless Kaori goes out and makes mistakes. Second place, I also feel pretty confident with Luna. She's been skating pretty strong this season. I have said I love her short program more than I love her free skate, but the judges have liked it all season, which is what really matters. The question becomes with that 3rd place spot. I think based upon the momentum that Mona Chiba got at 4 Continents, I would probably slot her in as my pick to get bronze, but she could also go out and have a rough short program and be totally out of it. You just have no idea, because like I said, she's been pretty inconsistent this season. And so I was a little surprised when she got named to the world team just based upon her nationals performance. So who knows? But I think that that's my pick for the top 3. Those 3 have the highest scores this season. And then, sort of looking at the rest, I expect Isabeau to rebound and still end up in the top 6. I think that Amber is going to do the best that we have seen her do at Worlds. And I say they go like 6, 7. I say they make it happen and get 3 spots next season. So I think, the people that I expect to be pushing the podium, Nina Pinzaroni, Hana Yoshida, if she can score well in the short program. And then, I'm interested to see what Chaeyeon Kim and what Gabanova do. And I really hope to see Hyeon Lee really bounce back from what was a really disappointing 4 continents for her just about 6 weeks ago. So there's my preview for the women's event. And so that's all 4. And I'll be back with recaps of all the events in just a few more days. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you are in Montreal, definitely send me a line and let me know how the crowds were, who looked great in person. I love hearing those sort of in-person reports. And I hope a year from now, I will be in person at Boston Worlds to be able to report those things back myself. So as always, you can find me on all the socials at Ice Skate Podcast. I will definitely be busy and active this weekend. And you can also find the podcast on YouTube as well. I've been uploading all of those so that there's another avenue for you guys to listen as well. All right, I hope you have a good rest of your week and enjoy some skating.